A warm welcome to you anywhere around the world. This is Nationwide on the network service of the Nigerian Television Authority. I'm Ayodeji Makinde. Will bring you stories from security to politics, economy and sports. So let's begin right here, where President Bola Tinubu has postponed his scheduled trip to Johannesburg, South Africa and Luanda, Angola as he awaits further security briefings on the kidnapped Kebbi schoolgirls and the attack on Christ Apostolic Church worshippers in Eruku, Kwara State. In response to the request by the governor of Kwara State, President Tinubu has ordered the deployment of more security men to Eruku and the entire Ekiti local government area of the state and directed the police to go after the bandits who attacked worshippers. President Tinubu was scheduled to leave Abuja this Wednesday to attend the 20th G20 Summit of Leaders in South Africa and thereafter proceed to Luanda to attend the 7th AU-EU Summit. Disturbed by the security breaches in Kebbi State and Monday's attack by bandits against worshippers at Christ Apostolic Church, Eruku, President Tinubu decided to suspend his departure. He now awaits reports from Vice President Kashim Shettima, who paid a sympathy visit to Kebbi on his behalf, as well as reports from the police and the Department of State Services regarding the attack in Kwara. In a statement by Presidential Advisor on Information and Strategy, Bayo Ononuga, President Tinubu reiterates his directive to the security agencies to do everything possible to rescue the 24 schoolgirls abducted by the bandits and bring the girls back home safe. In the meantime, Vice President Kashim Shettima is in Kebbi on the directive of President Bola Tinubu. He arrived at the Sir Ahmadu Bello International Airport in Birnin Kebbi, accompanied by the Director General of the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, Zubeida Umar, the Minister of Men Affairs and other dignitaries. The Vice President is expected to deliver the President's message to the people of Kebbi State and receive a detailed briefing on the situation for onward communication to the President. President Tinubu had yesterday directed Vice President to visit Kebbi State today to sympathize with the state government and assure parents and guardians of the kidnapped schoolgirls that the government will ensure their quick release. Now, a policy dialogue to recognize the strategic role of traditional and religious institutions in national security gets underway in Abuja to strengthen national peace and unity. Muhammad Rabiu Ali reports that the event put together by the National Institute for Legislative and Democratic Studies is also engaging other opinion leaders in Nigeria's conflict zones.
Religious and traditional institutions play a vital role as custodians of values since pre-colonial era. As the country is confronting security challenges from banditry to communal clashes, experts say hands must be on deck to restore peace and social cohesion.
We know the good, we know the bad, we know the ugly. And if you give us our job back, I'm sure these problems we're having in the country will come to an end.
This dialogue, therefore, provides us a rare opportunity to reflect deeply, once again, on how to harness the influence of these institutions in shaping community resilience.
All Muslim and Christian, we have to come together, we have to work together for our country, Nigeria, because we have only one Nigeria. So that's why peace is very important. If there is no peace, there is no development.
Stakeholders are of the belief that practical recommendations with support to religious and traditional leaders, Nigeria's security architecture will be better. In Abuja, Muhammad Rabiu Ali, NTA News.
All right, now reports just reaching us here. We can authoritatively confirm to you that the Federal High Court in Abuja has slammed a 20-year prison sentence on ISWAP commander Hussaini Ismaila Maitangara for coordinating deadly terror attacks across Kano State in 2012. Arrested by the DSS in 2017, Ismaila switched his plea to guilty after witnesses pinned him to the crimes. Justice Emeka Mwite ordered the sentence to run from his arrest date and ruled that he must undergo rehabilitation and de-radicalization after serving his term. Of course, more details on that particular breaking news at this moment would come in our subsequent bulletins. Now let's continue with our schedule, where the House of Representatives has resolved to interface with the leadership of the Senate to accelerate concurrence on the Nigerian Police Force Pension Board Establishment Bill, already passed by the House. This followed a motion of urgent public importance on the floor, calling attention to persistent protests by police retirees at the entrance of Parliament. National Assembly correspondent Nigerian Ikmen reports.
For 2 months running, police retirees have protested at the entrance to the National Assembly, drawing attention to delayed pension arrears and gratuities, as well as a desire to leave the contributory pension scheme for a standalone police pension board. Their plight was presented on the floor of the House.
The House is concerned that the morale of serving police personnel have been adversely affected by the plight of retired colleagues, a situation that brings embarrassment to the nation and call for urgent parliamentary intervention.
We have done all the needful on that bill. We have amended it.
They are not there because of the House of Representatives. They are there because of the Senate, because the House of Reps has done the needful.
Since we have treated the issue here comprehensively and it has been transmitted to the Senate, on the issue we are done with it.
The House leadership promised to interface with the Senate to fast-track the Nigerian Police Force Pension Board Establishment Bill within 4 weeks. In another resolution, the House directed its committees on narcotics, human rights and public safety to investigate alleged unlawful operations by NDLEA officials in Abuja, Owan West local government area of Edo State.
Alleging the harassment, intimidation, destruction of property and sporadic shootings that led to the murder of a 16-year-old Emmanuel Monday George, a school leaver, right in the family's sitting room. Mr. Speaker, we are aware that the constitutional mandate of the NDLEA is to combat drug trafficking and abuse and to operate within the confines of the law and not to run riots on the peace-loving people of any given community.
Following the news of the death of Senator Oke Ezia from Enugu State, the House adjourned plenary till Tuesday next week in honor of the departed lawmaker. From the National Assembly, Nigerian Ikmen, NTA News.
Still on legislative matters, President of the ECOWAS Commission, Dr. Aliu Omar Toure, warns that terrorism has spread beyond the Sahel and Lake Chad Basin to threaten all of West Africa, with early warning data showing 450 attacks and more than 1,900 deaths in 2025. Dr. Toure spoke in New York, United States, during discussions at the United Nations Security Council on strengthening regional cooperation in the fight against terrorism in West Africa and the Sahel. He noted that extremist groups are also waging economic warfare by restricting fuel and crippling trade across the sub-region, stressing that in response, ECOWAS is accelerating deployment of its standby force, starting with 1,650 personnel and scaling up to 5,000 with regional and partner support. He cautioned that fragmented efforts and mistrust hinder cooperation and urged the Council to help rebuild confidence, secure predictable financing and strengthen coordinated regional actions. A federal high court sitting in Abuja has adjourned the commencement of trial of 2 leaders of the Ansaru terrorist group, Mahmoud Usman and Abubakar Abba, captured by the Department of State Services, to a new date of January 15, 2026. The trial judge, Justice Emeka Wite, gave the order following pleas by counsel to the defendants for time to enable him be served with the charges and to study the count's proof of evidence. The defense counsel told the court that the charge and proof of evidence were still with the DSS, where the terror suspects were being detained on the order of the court. The lawyer prayed the court that the 2 defendants be moved to a correctional center to enable easy access and ensure prompt and hitch-free trial prosecution. Prosecution counsel David Kaswe opposed the prayers of the defense counsel. He said the protocol in the DSS required the defendant's lawyer to write to the agency seeking permission to see his clients and copy him, adding that heretofore the lawyer had failed to do so. Justice Wite, in his brief ruling, said he would, in interest of fair hearing, consider the submission of the defendant's counsel and move the trial to a future date. In shifting the trial to January 15, 2026, Justice Wite ordered the defendant's lawyer to always write DSS for permission to visit his clients and copy the prosecutor. Usman and Abubakar Abba are being prosecuted for terrorism by the DSS. However, Usman has pleaded guilty to count 10 in the 32-count charge, which bordered on economic crime, while Abubakar Abba pleaded not guilty to the 32-count charge on terrorism. Usman denied the remaining 31 counts. Now, President Bola Tinubu has approved new appointments into key government agencies. Musa Sarikin Adda has been redeployed to serve as Executive Secretary of Nigeria Extractive Industries Transparency Initiative, NTA, while Mukhtar Shehu Shagari has been appointed as the new chairman of the National Inland Waterways Authority, NIWA. In a statement, President Tinubu urges the newly appointed officials to be patriotic and leverage their experience to drive transparency, accountability, and effective service delivery. The appointments take immediate effect. Now from Abuja, let's go over to the Pace-Setter State, our Ibadan Network Center, where Kehinde has the next set of reports on Nationwide.
Thank you, Ayodeji. And for the 20 stories in Ibadan, the Nigerian Army says it will continue to enhance the clerical efficiency of its chief clerks to firm up the enduring values of discipline, diligence, and institutional memory towards sustaining administrative and operational efficiency. The Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Waidi Shaibu, gave the assurance at the second Chief Clerks Convention at the 2-Division Nigerian Army in Ibadan. Oyeyinka Omole reports that the theme of the convention is enhancing clerks' effectiveness in supporting Nigerian Army operations in a joint environment.
Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Waidi Shaibu, represented, described clerical staff as a vital link in executing orders, being custodians of records and critical advisors to their officers and commanders.
Moving from traditional record keeping to digital documentation and data-driven decision support and administrative leadership for the personnel within the chain of command.
General Officer Commanding 2 Division and the host, Major General Chinedu Inebefe, said the Nigerian Army has consistently demonstrated that good administration remains the backbone of every successful military operation.
It provides a platform for chief clerks across formations to exchange ideas on record management, documentation integrity, personnel accountability, and the use of modern information technology tools.
The Nigerian Army believes that the convention offers a unique opportunity to review its clerical practices, share experiences, and develop innovative approaches that will strengthen its administrative machineries. In Ibadan, Oyeyinka Omole, NTA News.
The increasing number of children born with congenital hearing loss and other communication challenges has become a source of concern to stakeholders across the country. Experts under the aegis of Speech Pathologists and Audiologists Association of Nigeria, SPAN, therefore converged on the University of Ibadan at a conference to chart a way forward on communication health as part of fundamentals for national development. Adeshewa Adekunle's report is here presented.
Stakeholders at the conference revealed that many cases often go undetected earlier in childhood leading to long-term learning difficulties, social isolation, and emotional strain for both children and their families. Experts therefore stress the need to address these issues with a strong partnership between healthcare professionals, the education sector, and government agencies to ensure that every child has access to proper screening, diagnosis, and treatment.
The professionals under rehabilitation should come together and provide that aspect of health care.
Rehabilitation centers in this country are not working, and we need to revive them because that is a transition point between acute care and community care.
Universities and training institutions were also urged to expand their programs to produce more experts who can meet the growing demand of communication health services.
We are introducing 2 new departments in the area of occupational tech rehabilitation, as well as speech and language audiology.
If it has been identified that a child has speech problem, either speech delay or maybe speech disorder, the work of the speech therapist will now be to create a program that will address those concerns or challenges.
SPAN reaffirmed its commitment to promoting early inclusion and equal opportunities for all individuals living with communication challenges across Nigeria.
Those are the trending reports from Ibadan. Nationwide continues with Jenny in Port Harcourt after the break.
And welcome to Port Harcourt. Nigerian Navy Eastern Naval Command is conducting a sea exercise tagged Dinmingi with the aim of protecting critical national infrastructure in the maritime through interagency collaboration. Flag Officer Commanding Eastern Naval Command Rear Admiral Chiedozie Ekei at the flag-off event said the exercise keys into Chief of the Naval Staff vision for a professional Navy. Kingsley Amajiri reports.
Exercise Dinmingi means safe waters in Ibani language and demonstrates the Eastern Naval Command's operational readiness to protecting national infrastructure.
This is another platform for the Nigerian Navy to collaborate with other sister security agencies in a strategic effort of protecting Nigeria's territorial integrity. 9 platforms will be deployed in this exercise.
It's an exercise that demonstrates the Eastern Naval Command operational readiness to defend critical national infrastructure, just like the LNG over here. It will involve 9 ships, helicopters from the Air Force and the Nigerian Navy, UAVs from both the Navy and the Air Force, and of course, assault boats from the Nigerian Navy and the Nigerian Army, including NDLA elements, so as to show our capability to carry out Coast Guard duties.
The Nigerian Navy would also be using the engagement to retrain personnel and appraise fleet combat readiness. Flag Officer Commanding Eastern Naval Command Rear Admiral Okehi says the exercise is part of training objectives set by the Chief of Naval Staff.
Let me emphasize that we are here. The Chief of Naval Staff has clearly declared his mission as to deploy a highly motivated and professional naval force capable of safeguarding Nigeria's maritime interests.
The exercise has simulations at sea and equally provides opportunity for joint operations with other security agencies. The aim is to create the right economic atmosphere for legitimate businesses to thrive. In Port Harcourt, Kingsley Amajiri, NTA News.
The Kalabari Kingdom, which incorporates laws across various states, are celebrating a new year according to their age-old calendar. The festival held at Elem Kalabari, known as the Source, because of its unique location as it boosts the livelihood and communication among communities. Senam Bamiboye reports.
Elem Kalabari, the cradle of the Kalabari Ijo ethnic nationality, celebrated the New Year festival with immense joy. What was once a solemn sacrifice in individual communities has evolved into a global brand. The choice of Elem Kalabari in Buguma for this year's celebration was unique and significant, as it is popularly known as the Source.
Let us take our own very important. Russians do not have the same calendar with us. I want to say to you, Happy New Year. Happy New Year. This is our New Year.
Last year, the first unified New Year festival was launched at Abalamatema Junction because it is central to the headquarters of the 3 local government areas housing the Kalabari Ijaw people. The theme for the 2025 festival is celebrating our heritage, honoring our waters, and renewing our spirits.
Elem Kalabari, where we are commemorating, is the original habitat of all the Kalabari nation.
Coming back to do what we ought to do as children of the men and the powerful chiefs and noble men and women who built the Kalabari kingdom and the Kalabari people.
The celebration kicked off with a vibrant boat regatta and also featured traditional dances, among other activities. The New Year festival marks the new year in Kalabari calendar and is expected to further strengthen unity and deepen the love among the people. In Port Harcourt, Senam Bamibuye, NTA News.
And those are the reports from Port Harcourt. Ayo, it's back to you in Abuja.
Thanks so much, Jenny. Now, after the conclusion of the Anambra State governorship election, which led to the re-election of Professor Chukwuma Soludo for a second term in office, residents of the state have been speaking on the expectations.
The election now over and Professor Chukwuma Soludo re-elected for a second tenure. The beauty of democracy lies in its power to give voice to the people. As Governor Soludo settles down for governance, what citizens want to see.
Giving attention to the issue of welfare, both the workers and of course other individuals. You need to give attention to that.
The Udogachi and the Agune Chamber, I would like him to actually look into their character.
There should be a deliberate act by the government to minimize the sufferings of downtrodden.
If we develop the agri sector very well, this hunger issue will be reduced to the barest minimum.
It is the consensus of the citizens that the next tenure of the re-elected governor would deliver robust dividends of democracy. Inoka Ngozi Okekaru, NTA News.
All right, we'll go back to Oka now and join Ngozi, who has harvested a lot of reactions and expectations from residents of the state. Well, when the governor was re-elected, one of the many things he said was he was going to hit the top gear and make Indi Anambra proud. Tell us the nexus at this moment.
Thank you, Ayo, and welcome to Anambra State. As the Ember Month witnessed heightened movement of people and goods, as well as festivities and rise in crime. In the next 1 month, the people of Anambra State expect Governor Soludo, who just secured his second tenure, to prioritize security in the state. This, they believe, will make Anambra a livable homeland, just as he promised during the campaigns. This, they expect him to achieve, first of all, by improving the security architecture of the state. The people interviewed actually believe that when he improves intelligence gathering, surveillance of the state, law enforcement, community engagement, this will help deter and detect potential security threats in the state. Those interviewed believe that with the Yuletide season around the corner, there should be serious improved security in the 21 local government areas of the state. They believe that better collaboration between the state and the security agencies will actually be impactful and make the Yuletide season enjoyable. And you know, this Yuletide season is when people from different parts of the country throng into Anambra State to catch fun on different levels in the interiors, even in the cities. And they value this. In fact, it's a culture in Anambra State that people from far and wide visit the state to catch fun. So the people actually expect that security at this time will be watertight with the collaboration. They also expect the governor to improve on kinetic and non-kinetic energy application. Doing this, they believe he should improve operational equipment for the security agencies by providing operational vehicles, monitoring equipment like CCTV cameras and things like that to enhance monitoring and apprehension of security situation threats. They also want the governor to enable whistleblowing, yes, so that when people see threats or crimes, they can easily report, and when they know they will be treated with confidentiality and reward, they tend to cooperate in their communities for safer environment for this. So that is the expectation of the people in this 1 month and more on economic and other aspects of the state. That's just the situation in Anambra State.
Thanks so much, Ngozi, on this update on the level of expectation from Anambrarians and the governor who has their mandate for the next 4 years. Thanks once again. Right from Anambra State, let's tell you another story. We're concerned about the slow pace of development of automotive industry in Nigeria. The Senate, through its Committee on Industries, brought together key stakeholders to chart a course in making the country's Africa's vehicle manufacturing hub. National Assembly correspondent Lami Ali reports that Senate is also interrogating the status of Nigeria's auto industry development plan.
The Senate Committee on Industry stated is convened to confront the paradox of Nigeria being a vast market of vehicles it does not produce. According to statistics, Nigeria imports 250,000 cars each year at a cost put between $3 to $5 billion.
Although Nigeria is widely recognized as a leading economy, its automotive industry has remained largely underdeveloped. We want to know why. And what can we do? Because we are supposed to export these vehicles to the neighboring countries.
The committee said all challenges should be laid bare and resolved in order to make progress. The Presidential Initiative on CNG and the National Automotive Design Development Council speak on efforts to drive the sector, but emphasize that investments and support for local industries are essential.
We have converted about 100,000 vehicles. We are moving on. Our target is about to hit 1 million. We have about 12 million cars all over the country. 57% of them are commercial vehicles. If we can get that in CNG and EVs, then we'll drastically reduce the cost of transportation.
We have to prepare. We have to prepare ourselves, especially for electric vehicles. We have to get ready, and we need to provide the necessary infrastructure.
Lami Ali, NTA News.
The cultural and traditional pillars of Nigeria must be supported, respected and empowered because a stable nation begins with strong, trusted institutions at the grassroots. These were the words of Speaker, House of Representatives Abbas Tajuddin at the second phase of the vehicle support interventions to traditional rulers. Adejoke Odeka tells us more.
House of Representatives Tajuddin Abbas has taken a significant step under the renewed hope agenda by sponsoring the empowerment of 7 royal fathers, aptly describing them as the engines driving grassroots development across the Federation.
These interventions were not acts of convenience. They are a recognition of the indispensable contributions of our traditional leaders to peace building.
Giving them these vehicles for them to strengthen peace in their different local governments, but more importantly, helping them with coordination and broadening and introducing rural industrialization into their localities.
We are seeing him in action. The demand of the traditional rulers, the amendment into the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and he has promised us before he leaves the top in his office, he's going to make sure it is done.
This initiative does not only seek to honor their historical heritage, but also marks a crucial step towards ensuring that traditional pillars are actively involved in Lagos. Adejoke Odeka, NTA News.
The Federal Capital Territory City Master Plan is a working document that guides infrastructure and the physical development of the territory. In this report, Onoze Yakubu x-rays the mandate of the FCT Department of Development Control and implications in its quests in restoring the master plan.
Notwithstanding the his and cries of the affected victims, one department in the FCTA that is resolute in enforcing the compliance of the physical development is the Department of Development Control. Its core mandate involves planning, design, and construction that conforms with the established regulations.
There is a clear difference between submission and approval. And you know it is illegal within the provisions of the FCT Act of 1976 and the Urban and Regional Planning Law of 1992 to commence development in the Federal Capital Territory without approval.
I wish to make it clear that in the FCT, the only thing that gives you title to land is statutory right of occupancy.
Its schedules also involve that all building developers must submit their engineering designs to the department, while demolition of presumed illegal structures to ensure compliance with regulations and safety standards is the last resort in addressing the distortions of the city master plan. Onoze Yakubu, NTA News.
Well, time now to join Onoze to give us more insight on this particular challenge, land grabbing and also the abuse of the master plan in the Federal Capital Territory. What is the situation report in terms of adherence and punitive measures?
Thank you very much, Ayodeji Makinde. You know, Abuja is a city of law, and the law must be respected at all times. The Federal Capital Development Authority is responsible for the provision of critical infrastructure within the city, nation's capital city. And one department that is responsible for managing this critical infrastructure being provided is the Development Control Department. And one thing is synonymous. One thing that is synonymous with this department is demolition. In the quest of ensuring that the city conform with the established the city master plan, the department in its efforts most times try to clear all the illegal shanties and structures that contravenes this established master plan. If you call them the development police, you will not be wrong. And this is because most times they go out to ensure compliance to the city master plan by pulling down most of these contravening structures. But if you are familiar with this department, if you come to the department on weekly basis, you agree with me that it is always a beehive of activities because they are so busy with granting the title documents, building approval, and designs. But what is in the public domain is the department is just concerned basically with demolition, which I want to let the public know that the demolition is always the last resort of what the department do. Don't forget, over the years, they'll be battling to ensure the full compliance, of the city master plan, and that is the situation at the moment.
All right, Onoze, if you can just quickly give me a summary. How aware are residents of the Federal Capital Territory to some of these no-go areas, and what is the level of sensitization by FCDA to ensure that we do not meet at this crossroads?
Thank you very much. I think the department over the time have been embarking on series of centralization, series of advocacy visits that all the lands in the FCT is owned by the government, the administration. But you know, people will still, the recalcitrant people will still go and get buy land from the locals, which the government from time to time is always against. But people are not deterred. The department most times will go on advocacy visit, letting people know that yes, this is not the way to go. The best way to go is to follow the due process. What is the due process? Go to the land department, obtain it legally, and come to the development control, get your building approval, and to avoid all this demolition that is occurring and reoccurring most of the time.
All right, thanks so much, Onoze, for your contribution. We expect all residents to be on the good side of the law. All right, let's continue our news here in Abuja, which is nationwide. But before we continue, let's go for a commercial break. And of course, we will be going to Benin, where Obehi will be giving us some reports afterwards.
Hello and welcome to NTA on Nationwide. This is Benin Network Center. The Senate President, Godswill Akpabio, has inaugurated agricultural equipment, which includes high-performance tractors and bulldozers to enhance mechanized farming and boost food production in Edo State. Good luck, Inaini reports.
The newly acquired equipment primarily includes 75 horsepower four-wheel drive tractors and bulldozers to facilitate farming process, increase productivity, encourage youth's participation in agribusiness for food sufficiency in Edo State. Senator Godswill Akpabio is happy and full of commendation on the Governor Monday Okpebholo for changing the narratives.
One good turn deserves another. Pray for him and support him. If he can do this in just 1 year, you can imagine what he will do in 2 years. You can imagine what he will do in 4 years. You can imagine what he will do in 8 years.
The 18 local government areas of the state are beneficiaries of these agricultural equipment in line with Governor Okpebholo's campaign promises and his administration's focus on practical governance and a Project Shine agenda which prioritizes results in key sectors like agriculture. Governor Okpebholo appealed to the Senate President to help look into the controversy surrounding the establishment of Museum of West African Arts, MOWA, by his predecessor.
I want to especially thank Mr. President for standing by us at every point in time. Because Edo people know that I don't have money. I'm a poor man. If Mr. President was not doing what he's doing for us, I don't think Edo can shine.
State Commissioner for Agriculture, Dr. Jerry Wangwe, believes the procurement of the equipment is apt. Other Edo citizens cannot hide their joy. In Benin, good luck in Inaini, NTA News.
The Zonal Director, NTA Benin Network Center, Tenny Ajayi, has assured the Esama of Benin Kingdom, Chief Gabriel Osawara Igbenedion, that the cordial relationship between the NTA and the Esama will remain unwavering. She gave this assurance when she led NTA Benin Network Center management team on a courtesy visit to the Esama. Rosemary Omani reports.
Management of the NTA Benin Network Center arriving in the country home of the SMA of Benin Kingdom. The Zonal Director intimated the SMA of the progress of the station, especially as regards her assumption as the Zonal Director of an organization of repute. She commended the first-class chief for his friendliness, care and kindness towards NTA Benin while seeking his guidance.
Esama has always been
a good father to the society, and he has always been hospitable. So I have no doubt that the required guidance will be given by him and the required support to take us a step further. So I'm glad that we have his audience today. It's been a year. You know, the last time when I came immediately, I asked for his audience, but he was not available then. But today is an exceptional day, and I'm very happy.
The SMR welcomed the zonal director and her team and pledged to always support the network center.
Martin, your production and is improving. I'm so happy with that, for the continuity.
The management staff were treated to a lunch as they dined and wined with the SMR. In Benin, Rosemary Omani, NTA News.
And that's it from Benin. Nationwide continues with Ayodeji in Abuja.
All right, we appreciate you for your contribution, Obehi. Back here in Abuja, 398 vibrant young people are participating in Children of Africa Leadership and Values Development Initiative, CALDEV Conference 4.0, with a mindset of becoming digitally smarter and socially responsible in nation building.
Mr. Speaker, I rise this.
For 6 years, from Ede North, Ede South, Egbedore and Ejibo Federal Constituency, Bamidele Salam's voice echoes within the walls of the Green Chamber at the National Assembly, legislating and bringing his expertise as a teacher, educationist, journalist and lawyer to bear. One of such is this inroad at the National Children Leadership Conference, where children are empowered to discover their voices, sharpen leadership skills, and embrace values that shape a bright Nigeria and Africa.
My role is to amplify the voices of the Nigerian children, speak for them, prefer solutions to the problems that Nigerian children are facing.
When I go back to my state, Borno State, I will ensure that I share this knowledge that I learned here.
These are the kind of things that we should provide to our younger generation, so that by the time they assume greater responsibilities, higher roles in leadership, they will not falter, they will not fail.
We got 31 from Borno State. Guess what? They came by road. We couldn't imagine it. What was the testimony? They said what they had last year was mind-blowing, that they couldn't afford not to come this time around.
As the countdown to the Universal Children's Day on November 20 intensifies, participants are focused and remain in high spirits with impactful digital skills sessions, practical experience from entrepreneurs, children parliamentarians. The next 2 days strengthens Nigeria's unity in diversity. In Abuja. The All Progressives Congress, APC, has postponed the reception of the governor of Taraba State, Dr. Agbu Kefas, earlier scheduled to hold Wednesday, November 19, to a later date. A statement by the National Publicity Secretary of the party, Felix Morka, indicates that the postponement is a mark of honor of members of the armed forces and citizens killed recently by forces of terror, and respect for victims of related incidents of abductions, especially of innocent students in Kebbi State by enemies of the state. The statement salutes the courage and sacrifices of men and women in uniform who put their lives on the line of defense of Nigeria's liberty and security, and prays for the safe return of the innocent students. In the meantime, security agencies led by the Nigeria Police have cordoned off the national headquarters of the People's Democratic Party, PDP. The action is to prevent both factions of the party laying claims to the leadership of the party from having access to the building. This is also to prevent one of the factions that scheduled a meeting at the National Secretariat today. Correspondent Timothy Yusuf will give us updates in subsequent bulletins. Now let's join Austin Edemodu, who has a package for us on sports updates.
From Riyadh in Saudi Arabia, Team Nigeria's Chioma Nweke and Yanolua Bada finished 5th and 7th in the women's 100 meters final at the Islamic Games. Bahrain's Ididiong Odiong emerged victorious in 11.17 seconds ahead of Cameroon's Kole Tonjuk 11.38 seconds and Suriname's Keliza Ashley-Smith in 11.59 seconds to finish 3rd. Meanwhile, the stage is set for the African biggest football award in Morocco, where Nigeria and Super Eagles striker Victor Osimhen is in contention for another African crown. The 2023 African Footballer of the Year and Galatasaray star will hope to overcome the challenge from Egypt and Liverpool forward Mohamed Salah and Morocco international Achraf Hakimi, who are 3 finalists for this year's CAF Men's Football Award. In the women's category, Super Falcons and 2025 WAFCON winning captain Rashidat Ajibade, Ghislaine Shibak and Sanam Sidi of Morocco are gunning for the women's crown. In the Goalkeepers Award category, 2-time winner Chiamaka Nnadozie, South Africa's Adile Diamini and Morocco's Khadija Emerichi are all in contention for the title. Nigerians are hopeful of capping off a remarkable year when the winners are announced tonight at 7 o'clock in Morocco. Let's now turn attention to the 2026 World Cup qualifiers that were concluded on Wednesday, where Caribbean nation, the Curacao, becomes the first ever smallest nation to qualify for the 2026 World Cup after drawing with Jamaica. Curacao has a population of 150,000 people, smaller than the Iceland, which held the record after featuring in the 2018 World Cup finals. With sports update, I'm Austin Edemodu, NTA News.
Right before we go, let's tell you that a report just reaching us indicates that the federal government of Nigeria has released the list of 24 students abducted from Government Girls Comprehensive Secondary School, Maga Wasagu, on 16th November 2025. In JSS 2, there are 4 of them, including Khadija Nazifi, Awa Ilyasu, Awahu Lawali, and Abdul Karim. In JSS 3A, there are Suraya Tukur, Hafsa Umar Yalmo, Mary Usman, Amina Ilyasu, Ikilma Suleiman. In SS2B, Awa Saleh was also abducted. Moving on to SS2A, 4 of them were abducted: Fatima Sani Zimri, Hafsat Ibrahim, Nana Fidausi Jibrin, and Musdwal Yakubu Tomo. To SS3A and B, 10 were abducted, including Salma Garba Umar Senchi, Salma Sani Zermi, Aminaji Umar, Rashida Mohammed Dungu, Salia Umar, Aisha Usman, Jamila Ilyasu, Mariam Ilyasu, Naja'atu Abdullahi, and Zainab Kolo. Of course, there's a big call and expectation that they will be rescued safely and brought back home to their parents. That is nationwide. I'd like to thank you for watching. I'm Ayodeji Makinde. On behalf of the entire production crew, enjoy the rest of our broadcast. Bye-bye.